Tonight on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi, it's men's soccer from the campus of St. John's University in Queens. It's the number 10 Red Storm in with a record of 10-1. They play host to the 7-3-1 Villanova Wildcats. Let's have a look at the up-to-the-minute Big East standings. 2 games played on Friday night. Georgetown defeated Seton Hall, so that bumps up the Hoyas. It's a first place in the Big East with 10 points. St. John's a chance to jump over them as they sit at the moment with 9. Villanova, through 3 games, has 4 points. And with that, once again, welcome to our coverage tonight from Belson Stadium. I'm Ralph Bednarchik. The St. John's Red Storm are 10-1 for the first time since 1996, a year that they won the national championship. They were the preseason 7 team in the country, and they have risen all the way to number 10 in the nation. These are 2 stingy teams. Villanova number 2 in the country in goals against, St. John's number 5. It'll be a very intense battle between 2 teams just to get one past each other's goalie. As we look at our spotlight players tonight for the Red Storm, they have found a way to get timely goals from sophomore Tani Oluwaseyi. He's this week's Big East Offensive Player of the Week. He leads the conference with 7 goals, including 4 game winners. He's been predominantly coming in off the bench, and with his left foot, he has found ways to get seams and hit important shots for St. John's. And for the Villanova Wildcats, well, the backbone of that microscopic goals against average is junior goalie Carson Williams. At 6 foot, his head coach Tom Carlin says he's a future pro. He has even added onto what he accomplished last year. He's played every single minute the last pair of seasons. Only 35 saves in the year for Carson Williams, but he is very vocal and super athletic to try to make game-changing stops. So Villanova on the road, a place that they have not won in the Big East since 2016. St. John's undefeated at Belson Stadium. It's a Saturday night in Queens, and it's men's soccer next on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
And welcome to Belson Stadium. Cool, chilly October evening. White on white for the Villanova Wildcats. Red on red for St. John's. And we are underway with 2 of the stingiest teams in the country meeting tonight. St. John's out of a 4-5-1 alignment. Villanova in a 4-4-2 as we get a whistle. And St. John's will start from their own side. First, St. John's, have a look at their starters. Dr. Dave Mazer, Coach Mazer, as he'd like to be called. Jan Hoffelner, 6'3" junior goalie, makes the start again. He has started all 12 games now, 1 full game against Butler. We should likely see Luca Gavrin playing in the second half. And Coach Mazer thrilled with the depth of this team that it showed to be 10-1 at this point. They've gotten a different contributor every single night to step up. And Hoffelner, playing first halves, has been very good. Just 2 goals allowed for Hoffelner. St. John's with their 2 center backs of Ron Alcobi and Matt Chandler. They were starting lineup. Left and right backs, Bustamante and Duarte. Cole Reardon, 33, will be the lone forward. First career start. Jared Julo, Einar Lai, Skage Simonsen, Brandon Knapp, Matt Forster will all be in the midfield. As St. John's here to possess through. Brandon Knapp, Simonsen, it'll turn. St. John's to repossess. A cross sent in, and Carson Williams will go up and get it. For the Villanova Wildcats, Williams, a 6' junior goalie, has played every minute the last 2 seasons. And for the Wildcats, a couple of changes in their midfield. Vare and McKinnon will start tonight up top. Bradley and Malore, the center backs, with Richie Schlentz and Sean Teixeira. The outside backs, Bellas, Benedictson, Corte and Anthony Dragicic are in the midfield. For Dragicic, his third start of the season, as Tom Carlin will look to see, can his team counter tonight and get an elusive Big East Road win. The Wildcats' last 14 Big East Road games are 0-12-2. Their last win coming back in September of 2016, 2-1 at Marquette. Just been a bit snake bit, and hopes his team will believe that can be possible tonight with the Red Storm, especially being such a good home team over the years here at Belson Stadium, and this year no different. They're 5-0. Lai off the toss in. And the Wildcats' strength, of course, has been that back line. Just 3 goals allowed, 11 goals scored for. And Villanova this year is also playing a nice schedule at 7-3-1 losses to Penn State, a game which they did not have Luka Malor, who left the game prior to that against Fordham with an injury. Gave up a 77th minute goal in a loss to Maryland. Skage Simonson, 6'6" sophomore center back, Matt Chandler. A first-year starter every game of this season from Toronto. And the right back, Brandon Duarte. And Duarte able to make the run across inside near the 6. And Villanova momentarily the clearance. Brandon Knapp, a sophomore that's really risen into an all Big East caliber player this season. Simonson plays it in front, and that ball just out of the range of Cole Reardon, played away by Carson Williams. Reardon playing just his 6th career match tonight. A sophomore out of Hackettstown, New Jersey, western part of New Jersey. Here's a good look at that. And Reardon just inches away from his first career goal. It would come on his first career shot. And Coach Dave Mazer telling me before the game that Reardon deserved an opportunity the way he's been practicing. There's been such a log jam at that forward position, and Reardon has gotten the chance tonight, and he's going to get the start and play a good chunk of the first half. And he almost rewarded his coach. Bustamante, connection with Matt Forster. Simonson. Skage Simonson will hold the ball up. The reigning Big East Rookie of the Year last year from Norway, as he jumped right into the St. John's lineup and was a mainstay. So Chandler for Ron Alcolby. St. John's will be without junior Johan Aquilon from France, who suffered an injury Tuesday night in a victory against Temple. This is a ball serviced and crossed by Brandon Duarte, and it will be an early St. John's corner. Just getting going tonight on a brisk evening from Queens. Ralph Bednarchik on hand on the Big East Digital Network. St. John's at 3-0 in the Big East for the first time since 2004. And number 2 in the RPI, only behind Virginia. Now, that's not the official NCAA RPI, but there's been a quality blog putting together Division I men's soccer RPI. This is a ball headed by Simonson right at Carson Williams. A good service, and Simonson found himself all alone and unmarked. As St. John's had played it short, and Forster, and perhaps just that bit of a delay as they played it short, there was a marking lost. And Simonson with a goal and 5 assists, and he's been prolific, particularly in second halves. Checking back, Theo Corte. And Corte with a good ball out wide, now for Villanova. And a connection in the middle of the field. Anthony Dragicic. The Wildcats out of a 4-4-2. They've mainly been playing that 4 midfield alignment in a box as opposed to a diamond, but Tom Carlin says he's been tinkering all year. And tonight, a start Evan Vare, who's been a trusty scorer off the bench, 3 goals, second leading scorer for Villanova. And Liam McKinnon, who's been a starting center midfielder for much of the season, plays up top. McKinnon is Villanova's leading scorer with 2 goals and 4 assists. Bustamante drives in. Corte with the layoff. Bustamante with the rein. And Rafael Bustamante, a first-year starter at left back, has become a mainstay and someone that Coach Mazur has always been very fond of, but has been playing mostly right midfield in his first 2 seasons. Nearby product out of Corona, New York. And he has found a spot in the back line from Manhattan Hunter Science Program. And it was a pleasant surprise to get on the field even 2 years ago. Ball sent in by Duarte. And it's blasted out. Villanova's strength is particularly with their 2 center backs, Luca Malor, Shane Bradley, 2 imposing figures, both seniors. And they've been together the last 2 years. Bradley is a 4-year starter and 2-time second-team All-Big East. Julo in the throw-in. Simonson after the slide tackle. And Skage Simonson will pick up the foul. Our center referee tonight doing the honors, Michael Stuff. There's Mr. Stuff. St. John's with the first 4 shots. Bustamante. As he looked for Reardon. Follow-up played here before it's sent out by the left back for the Wildcats, Schlentz. Chandler. And Chandler, Canadian product, both out of the GPS Academy. Same as Tammy Oluwaseyi that we'll see come on at some point in the second half. Ball in the air for Reardon that Malor handles. Into the 10th minute. Bradley for Carson Williams. Simonson to knock down.
So it's actually a 4 that shifts to a 2. A 4.
Malor.
5 midfield. They can easily go up to 7.
And the Wildcats looking to build through
Knapp is your nickel
as they play the ball ahead for Evan Vare. Vare in particular has been known to have a rocket of a shot. 2nd year with Villanova after transferring from Lafayette following 2017. And he comes off the game-winning goal scored earlier this week against James Madison. So Bustamante. Julo gets the start tonight, left midfield. A Red Bulls Academy product. And the Wildcats force it free. Josh Bellas, a towering 6'4" holding midfielder from Toronto. And the Vaughan Azzurri program. Malor, as he looks outside. Richie Schlentz, the left back. Service to the top. Vare, and was not able to get a good look. And Evan Vare had a brief window. Good ball. That was played all the way across by Malor. Bellas. And then Sean Teixeira, the right back, dispossessed. Matt Forster. Foster has missed 3 games this year due to injury, but he has been a mainstay in the St. John's lineup. Now a senior from England. And Schlentz will play it back with St. John's with their high pressure. Alcobi. Villanova coach Tom Carlin in his 11th season just picked up win number 100 on the main line this week against James Madison. He is 2nd all-time in victories at Villanova, now only 13 behind Larry Sullivan. Now, the Wildcats' story has been similar to the Red Storms. They've been, as I touched on in the open, a stingy defensive team, a microscopic goals against average at .26. Good for second in the nation. And they've also won 7 straight home games dating back to last year. They're 6-0 this season at the Higgins Complex. And they went 4+ matches with shutouts. They already have 8 shutouts on the season. The program record is 9 shutouts sent back in 2011. Carson Williams, already individually for a goalie at Villanova, has set the program record. And we're not close to November. Chandler. Midfield throw coming for the Wildcats. Villanova had a shutout streak halted after 472 minutes in their eventual loss 1-0 at Penn State. And a collision in midfield. Sean Teixeira will play it back to Williams. And now we have a St. John's player down. And Michael Stuff will blow the whistle. That's Cole Reardon. That's shaken up. So Reardon from Hackenstown High School in New Jersey has been working hard to try to gain this opportunity. Let's have a look to see what happened to him. And perhaps in the follow-through after Reardon looked to make a play on the ball. And St. John's is going to have to make a sub here with this official stoppage. And it's going to be a very early call to the bullpen for Tani Oluwaseyi. So the Big East Offensive Player of the Week, who has been so prolific coming in end of first halves and playing large chunks of second halves, is now going to come in here on the earlier side into the 15th minute. So Oluwaseyi will get the chance. 4 game-winning goals right now, are 4th in the country. And already the 7 goals is most by Ajani since Trevor Chiduku had 7 on the 2008 College Cup team that St. John's had, a team that eventually reached the semifinals, losing to Maryland. That was down in Frisco, Texas. And Oluwaseyi, sophomore from Mississauga, Ontario. Williams. And Oluwaseyi has just been prolific, especially late in games, being a little fresher. He and Nico Petridis, the Red Storm's 2 leading goal scorers, Petridis with 4. They've been electric in second halves, and they have 11 of the Red Storm's 24 goals scored. Julo, service in, looking for Lai, and Williams, as the touch was sent beyond the line, it'll be the Red Storm's second corner. So St. John's corner, Einar Lai will have the approach. Now the Wildcats left Simonson unmarked on the Red Storm's first corner. Lai. And a low blast comes to the near post. And that's last touched by Villanova. And this might be a more advantageous spot for St. John's. It brings the left foot of Matt Forster into play. Forster's been a steady corner kick presence over the course of his 4-year career. And last time St. John's also ran a second man in and played it short. This time it's just Forster as he drives it near post. Follow up by Lai as he chips. That ball fell nice for Einar Lai. Lai, a sophomore from Norway. 2 goals and 4 assists And in early September, there's Einar, an imposing 6'4" center midfielder, along with Skage Simonsen. Lai had a 5-point match against Iona earlier this season with 2-1. First Johnny to do that since September of 2005. Space for Bustamante. And he did not have anybody making the run. So Oluwaseyi is on to replace Reardon up top. Into the 17th minute tonight, St. John's so far with the first 4 shots. As the Wildcats showing patience, they play it back through Carson Williams. That ball out of the range of Forster and driven deep again by Malor. Josh Bellas. And someone that Tom Carlin says he really calms us down. He'll be significant tonight for Villanova to stop any counters. Bellas goes back to Williams. Carson Williams from Plano, Texas. And you talk about having a busy high school schedule. Carson Williams, of course, in the hotbed of football, that is the Dallas area, as the entire state of Texas is, of course. But Carson Williams grew up playing youth football and youth soccer. And he had fork in the road that during his junior year of high school, while he was playing club for the Dallas Texans, most afternoons, Carson Williams went directly from 2-hour football practice to soccer training at the academy. He ended up being a starting slot wide receiver as a junior. And Villanova was able to get onto him late in the process. They were actually one of the last schools to reach out to Carson Williams before he made the choice to go into just academy soccer for his senior year. And that's really worked out for Carson. So among the most athletic goalies you can imagine. On the smaller side is what the goalie position has. Here's a good cross sent in. That's handled by Alcoby well. And Oluwaseyi. But Williams is much improved with new assistant coach and goalie coach Alex Balog, a former Division II head coach at Montana State Billings. That's been a new addition for Villanova, and they have bonded well. And Williams is especially improved in the air, and something that could be a factor tonight with what the Red Storm possesses with size on any crosses or restarts. Dragicic to bring it back out. Shane Bradley. Bustamante will play it out, and Villanova with a deep throw. This is the best time that the Wildcats have had on the ball. They've only scored 11, but as Tom Carlin said, you know, we just want to be one goal better than our opponent. And they've settled into this one on the road. Malor. And St. John's looking to transition with a quick throw, but we'll get another Red Storm substitution as Coach Mazur shows good hands there. Coach Mazur in his 29th season. 3-time Big East Coach of the Year. And among the things that he says that have separated this team towards being potentially elite, their preparation as a group. You know, a year ago they brought in 25 newcomers, including 18 freshmen, so it's taken them time, but this team prepares as good as any as he's had. The position battles continue behind the scenes. Just as an example with Cole Reardon earning his first career start tonight at forward. And Coach Mazur's also been splitting goalies for the first time in his 29-year career. Knapp, then Duarte on the head ball. Punch forward by Corte. And a good step forward and read by Bustamante. However, the advantage called, and it will be a foul against St. John's. And now Michael Stuff calls an official timeout, and I thought for a moment maybe he'll warn somebody. I think he is going to warn Rafael Bustamante. So that's what the conversation's about. And for the Wildcats, any restart holds some great significance. Can they get a couple scoring chances against the Red Storm tonight? Two teams in the top 5 in the nation in goals against. Malor has Oluwaseyi marked up, and he will go back to Williams. Villanova has won 2 in a row. And there was a near disaster for the Wildcats. The near turnover, but Villanova's found a way with their back line and goalkeeper. Tom Carlin feels we just do well with limiting opportunities as the Wildcats commit the foul. Big games were actually losses, he felt, to Penn State and Maryland. They played those teams close, and that we were further along than maybe we expected. Played very hard on the road at Creighton, despite getting a second-half red card against them in the 50th minute, and still actually pressured Creighton and ended up losing 1-0, but they had numerous opportunities to tie that game, playing down a man, and they're going in the right direction. Last week, a good win over Xavier, who's been ranked earlier this season. Good program out of the CAA in James Madison. And in last week's win against Xavier, they particularly did a very good job, he noted, on Samson Sergi, all Big East forward for the Musketeers. So Bustamante, the deal back to Chandler. Ron Alchemy, freshman center back, 22 years old after his mandated 3-year stint in the Israeli army. From the beautiful town of Netanya in Israel, the Fort Lauderdale of Israel, you could say. Coastal vacation spot. Knapp, as he played it over the top, and looking for Oluwaseyi. Williams to distribute. As we come up on the 25th minute tonight in Queens, no score in this Big East battle. St. John's an opportunity to push past Georgetown again and get themselves back into first place. The Hoyas, after their victory last night over Seton Hall, have 10 points, St. John's with 9. And how about the job done by Seton Hall coach Anders Lindberg? At least in the early conversation for Big East Coach of the Year, Seton Hall had won 4 in a row prior to last night's loss. Room for Corte. And now Vare. Corte with eyes to go on, the shot is blocked. Great recovery to close down the window. Matt Chandler took a potential quality scoring chance away. Now Oluwaseyi on the approach, and Williams reads the play well at the top of his box. Evan Vare was a prolific goal scorer in his 2 years at Lafayette. 7-1 2 years ago for the Leopards. As a freshman, 7 more goals, 2 assists. And he's given the Wildcats a professional finisher, essentially most times off the bench. And the shot by Vare, albeit being blocked, was the first of the night for Villanova. Simonson. Bustamante in the air for Knapp. As the service is over the head of Vare. Julo. Bustamante as he sent it along. Teixeira to lay it down for Beluz. There, able to check back. And Villanova able to win possessions. They've leveled the game since the opening start by St. John's, where they had the better of it. And still at this juncture, Tom Carlin knows about the Big East road woes that Villanova has experienced and calls that his team's area of improvement, just the intangible of believing his team can win on the road. They haven't been scored on yet at home, but just playing one moment at a time and not having any laps. Those little things that it takes, as Oluwaseyi, as his shot is blocked. Follow up, Julo, and a nice takeout slide there by Dragicic. Simonson will win the ball back for the Red Storm. Skage Simonson. And he tried to play it outside. He had Brandon Duarte. For the Wildcats, they look to change their season tonight. They are very much in the NCAA at-large picture into this evening, at least according to the unofficial NCAA RPI that's posted on a very good fan blog. St. John's being number 2 in the RPI. And again, it's unofficial until the NCAA releases their first RPI on their website, which is probably another week away. But that's the best thing we can go by at the moment. Villanova being number 49 in the RPI. St. John's already has wins over NC State, 8th in the RPI. Butler, number 24. Lai, service in. And defended well by Bradley of the Wildcats. So for Villanova, what a victory can do to raise their profile. Corte. Live for St. John's. Oluwaseyi. Ver trying to bring it down. Corte with a nice turn. And he is out of the Right to Dream Academy from Ghana that's produced so many Division I soccer players and given them a chance to improve their lives. Villanova has 2 of them from the Right to Dream Academy. As we get the Villanova foul, and that's Anthony Dragicic, a freshman from Ellicott City, Maryland, and makes his 3rd start tonight. High school valedictorian out of Archbishop Curley. Meanwhile, Villanova making a substitution. Next opportunity. Alcobi taken away by Ver. Ver with McKinnon in the middle. Off for McKinnon. And McKinnon, as he popped it up, asking for the handball. And perhaps the center referee, Michael Stuff, may have been screened. Schlentz. Corte. And Corte is able to draw the foul, squeezing through a pair of defenders. So the quickness of Theo Corte, about 5'7", 140. Big East All freshman team 2 years ago. And for Villanova, this is a good spot for their left-footed left back, Richie Schlentz. So Schlentz there, 11 over the ball. Corte is also in the picture, left-hand side of your screen. There's Corte. Will it be the right foot or the left? 30th minute in Queens. Schlentz service. He was looking for Vare, and St. John's defends it well. Good crowd that's settled in tonight. The 1870 court is here outside with a cash bar, hot dogs and hamburgers available. The Red Storm trying to stay undefeated and keep their fans happy. 5-0 this year at home. Bundled up a little bit because the October weather has arrived, but a good scene on hand in a scoreless Big East battle. Tom Carlin of Villanova brings on Connor Bradley, who has been starting at forward. Now, Bradley's the twin brother of the center back, Shane Bradley. Connor's 2 minutes younger. Connor, a converted holding midfielder that's been playing up top this year. And Seydou Shamsuddin replaces Evan Vare at the other forward spot. So McKinnon and Vare both sit. Duarte down the middle, Simonson. A ball for Oluwaseyi, intercepted. Good play made by Richie Schlentz. Benedictson for Corte. Corte as he works on Duarte. Bellows for Schlentz. The connection, Victor Benedictson, a freshman from Iceland, who they felt is our energy, our life. Tom Carlin couldn't say enough about what he has added, and also great credit when you have a player that is so outspoken and emotional in the freshman class. At times that can be difficult to assimilate, and he gives a lot of credit to his 10 seniors that have allowed Victor Benedictson to kind of be the high intensity and energy player. Benedictson even has a cheer that he's essentially invented after each game. As on for the Wildcats, here is freshman Marcus Brennis of Wayne, New Jersey. So he comes on in the midfield for Anthony Dragicic. Oluwaseyi calls the pressure, the takeaway. Oluwaseyi on his right foot. Oluwaseyi shot is blocked. He was looking for Lai, who was running the middle. It'll be a corner for St. John's. So Oluwaseyi with a peek to the front. And how about the block shot and taking that? Looked like by Shane Bradley. So now St. John's, instead of Forster, they'll go to Brandon Knapp for an outswinger. For Simonson, and he tucks it in! Oh, what a goal from the near post to tuck it inside the far post with a head ball. Brilliant skill from Skage Simonson. St. John's strikes in the 35th minute. Into the far upper 90 on a head ball. And tight to the end line. Skage Simonson, his second of the season. Knapp on the assist. What a terrific ball. And for Simonson, part of the Red Storm's ascension has been when he arrived on campus. And on the night before preseason this year in August, Simonson, during a captain's practice, suffered what appeared to be a devastating knee injury as Simonson there picks up the goal. You notice There's a black brace on his right knee. It ended up being just a sprained MCL, but there was concern as Simonson did not play in any of the 3 exhibition games that it could be something very serious, but the Red Storm got a very positive diagnosis, and Simonson has been full go and produced yet another strong year. Last fall, he was Big East Rookie of the Year, the second in program history, only behind the great Wojtek Krakowiak, who won a national championship at St. John's in 1996. And Krakowiak had a wonderful run all the way through the national championship that year. We'll get another St. John's sub as the Red Storm will bring on their other outstanding sixth man this year. If they gave that award in college soccer, St. John's would have a lot of candidates for that, as Einar Lai leaves and Nico Petridis checks on. And Petridis with 4 goals, 3 of them coming in second halves this year, has come on as usually as an outside midfielder. Bustamante. Ball over the top, Julo, but the offsides flag is up. And also for St. John's, Luke Hansen has come on at center back, replacing Ron Alcobi. Chandler, that's Duarte in the air. And for Villanova, it is just their 4th goal allowed on the season. And it took a clinical finish on a very difficult ball to head, one straight at you, that Simonson was able to redirect. Corte. As he looked to send out Connor Bradley. And the foul against St. John's. So again, Villanova needs to be dangerous on any restart in the offensive third. It's going to be Theo Corte. Corte. Shamsuddin dispossessed. Oluwaseyi. As the Red Storm counter with Petridis running the field. Ball for Petridis. Bradley. And that's Petridis that commits the foul. Well, Nico Petridis has found a role and identity for this team. A senior from Norwalk, Connecticut. Transferred from UConn following the 2017 season. And he comes in and is just relentless. 4 goals for Nico, also 4 assists this year, primarily off the bench. Last year went pointless in 18 games and 2 starts. But he had a similar role at UConn, 3-3 as a sophomore, as a freshman 1-2, primarily off the bench. Schlentz. Richie Schlentz slips it in. Theo Corte firing, and Corte had a chance to settle it. No touch. It'll be a goal kick. Theo Corte, and he had a runner inside in Seydou Shamsuddin. And the 2 players from Ghana had a chance to combine. And there is Corte. Not big at 5'7", highly recruited with offers from Virginia, Harvard, UPenn, quality programs. He had the game winner against Xavier earlier this season. Oluwaseyi and Williams able to read the ball in front of him. For Carson Williams, that .26 goals against was special. That was leading the Big East and third in the NCAA individually. But the Wildcats have protected him quite well. He's only had to make 35 saves. Season high was 6 against Maryland. And that might be challenged tonight. Petridis. And then Petridis loses an edge as he tried to turn the corner on Shane Bradley. 40th minute in Queens tonight on Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. It's men's soccer. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk, number 10, St. John's, with a goal in the 35th minute from Skage Simonsen. Brandon Knapp on the assist, holds a 1-0 lead over the Villanova Wildcats. Bellas for Malore. Teixeira. Corte. Teixeira continues the run. Teixeira's service is blocked. Good coverage by St. John's. That's Skage Simonsen. Oluwaseyi will let that go out off of Villanova. We'll get a throw for St. John's with 3.5 to go in this first half. And now Oluwaseyi is going to take a seat here late in the first half, so it's a bit of a different role for him. St. John's will bring on Drew Rosen to replace him. A sophomore from Manhattan, attended Winston Prep, but he played out in Queens at the famed Met Oval Academy. Luke Hansen, a sophomore center back out of West Windsor, New Jersey. Been getting himself up to full fitness. Been dealing with an ankle injury. Missed part of last year, too, with injury. Petridis, good service. Follow up by Knapp, and the shot is blocked. And a call against St. John's. The offsides flag was up. And now a St. John's foul as Drew Rosen collides with Malore. Yeah, Malore appears like he's okay. Coming up at the half, stay tuned on the Big East Digital Network for the Big East Fall Sports Update. Megan Caffrey and John Fanta will let you know what's going on across Big East men's and women's soccer and volleyball. The volleyball season now into its third weekend. In women's soccer, this weekend marks the midway point of conference play. Everybody getting into their 5th out of 9 matches, and how quickly it goes and how urgent each game, each match becomes moving forward. So stay tuned for that. Here coming up at the break. Room for Knapp. A good switch for Bustamante. Bustamante a service. Simonsen again the target. And Williams will go up and get it. And the athleticism there showcased from Carson Williams. And his improvement in the air. Well, Coach Alex Balog, the two areas has been the next step of commanding his box in the air, and then just his overall mental game, the confidence that Balog has brought Carson Williams. And they love his soft hands. Of course, you want to credit some of that to his football experience, but the overall athleticism is at the root of all of that. Julo Jarajulo looking to flick on. Rosen, Drew Rosen plays it at the top of the box. Here's the shot, and it goes through that Williams makes the save on. Brandon Knapp had a very good look, and through some traffic, he kept it low, and Carson Williams is able to stay with it. Fourth save of the first half for Carson Williams, and what a ball by Rosen on the layoff. And with two Wildcats going down, a great look at that ball by our crew. Two Villanova defenders going down, anxious to trying to get a piece of it, but as well as avoid a handball.
8, 7, 6, 5.
And that's going to take care of this opening half. Number 10, St. John's leads Villanova 1-0 at the break. Skage Simonson, a terrific finish. The Red Storm looking to leapfrog Georgetown tonight and get themselves back into first place in the conference. Big East Fall Sports Report is next, followed by our first half highlights from Queens on the Big East Digital Network.
We are back for another week of the Big East Fall Sports Update. John Fanta alongside Megan Caffrey. Thank you so much for joining us. John, a really exciting conference play weekend this past weekend, especially in women's soccer. There is one lone dog left at the top, the Georgetown Hoyas.
The Hoyas, they have been at the top of this league year after year, Megan, and it's theirs until somebody takes it from them. So for Georgetown, off to a 3-0 start in conference play, and now another battle for first place. They'll welcome in a Xavier Musketeers program that went to the conference tournament semifinals last year and now has been led by Brooke Sroka and a dynamic attack. Nate Lee's done a great job with this program, so I have my eyes on the Musketeers and Hoyas this week.
Let's focus in a little bit more on the middle of the league here. We have 3 teams right now at 2-1 and 3 teams at 1-1-1. The 3 teams at 2-1 are Xavier, Providence, and DePaul. Who stands out to you the most, who you think can really make a move?
DePaul. When we talk about DePaul and Aaron Chastain's program, we're typically talking about goal scorers. But this year, Molly Erickson's done a great job in goal. Only 3 goals allowed combined the last 6 games. That stands out to me because what we're now seeing is the Blue Demons start to get the scoring done. Great goal from Kristen Bowes last week. Absolutely fantastic strike against Butler. Morgan Turner then following it up. She's the Big East Offensive Player of the Week. I like the direction this Blue Demons program's going.
Speaking of goal scorers, as we turn back to the Georgetown Hoyas, their offense has just been unstoppable. An interesting statistic that stands out to me is they have outscored their opponents 19-0 in their last 5 matches. They have just been dominant. You have to remember they went unbeaten in conference play last season. The only draw that they had all conference play was against Xavier at the very end of the season.
Yes, they're constantly the hunted, and yet that doesn't seem to get to them. It's why they've been one of the best programs in America, and they're really able to do a great job of mixing that experience with welcoming in freshmen who come in, understand what it takes to win at the highest level in college women's soccer. This Georgetown program, they do it right under Dave Nolan, who has become a legend there.
I spoke with 2 of the experienced Hoyas, Paula Jermina-Watnick and Amanda Carolyn, about how they've been able to be so successful.
The Georgetown Hoyas are the lone unbeaten team in the Big East standings after their 4-0 win over Providence this past Sunday. A large part of that having to do with forwards Amanda Carolyn and Paula Jermino-Watnick, who I'm joined with now. Amanda and Paula, your team has now have a 19-0 margin of victory over the last 5 games. How has this offensive unit been so successful?
I would say that in the beginning, we were still trying to figure things out. We were working through our system, understanding the strengths of each other, trying to build that chemistry. And then at some point, it really just clicked, and we've been embracing it and having fun with it and making the most in practice and in games.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 games ago, we kind of figured out how our forwards and our attacking mid should play with one another, and since then we've really been able to take advantage of that.
Your team came into this season as the preseason favorites after three-peating the Big East Championship and winning back-to-back Big East regular season titles. How have the Georgetown Hoyas remained so consistent?
Every day when it's time to practice, we just have it in our mind that we're going to get better. We don't look too far into the future, and we learn from our past, and I think that's one of our strengths.
Yeah, I think our values the past 3 years have been very consistent, which is obviously have fun, build relationships, and work as hard as you can. I think since that's kind of been carried through the past 3 years, we've had some success, and it's been pretty consistent.
Paula and Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you for having us.
John, let's take a turn to men's soccer now. The St. John's Red Storm, they're at the top of the conference. They are 3-0 for the first time since 2014. They have just been a powerhouse this season.
They keep on outdoing themselves, Megan. What a statement win at Valley Fields in Marquette. Get this for the Johnnies. They had not scored a goal against Marquette in nearly a decade before Friday night, since 2010. What do they do in Milwaukee? They put 4 on the Golden Eagles. Tanny Olawashe is one example. He had the brace, first of his career. But the reason why this St. John's program is in the top 15 nationally is because they have offensive depth. They're typically known for their defense. That's what Dr. Dave Mazur does well. But Olawashe, reigning Big East Freshman of the Year, Skage Simonson, Nico Petridis, the list goes on of guys who can put the ball in the back of the net. And for St. John's right now, they are feeling good. They've got a winning formula.
We also have some field hockey on the Big East Digital Network this upcoming weekend, and volleyball. This is a match that you do not want to miss this weekend.
This has become the match in Big East volleyball. These have been the top 2 programs, Marquette and reigning conference champion Creighton. And it's on the Golden Eagles' mind to try to overthrow the Blue Jays in this league. You've got number 10 Marquette led by Allie Barber and a 13th ranked Blue Jays squad that had some moving pieces and parts in the offseason, but Kirsten Bernthal Booth, it's why she has been able to sustain success. She's brought in newcomers who have filled those holes. I love this showdown. Saturday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, at the Al McGuire Center. I expect the Al will be packed. Buckle in for a potential 5-7.
So there you have it. Volleyball, men's, women's soccer, a lot to look forward to on the Big East Digital Network that you do not want to miss.
As well as Big East Media Day for Madison Square Garden. Hoops is back. Men's at 9:30 a.m. and the ladies take over in the afternoon. We'll have you covered all day long on the Big East Digital Network. Can't wait.
Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you all so much for tuning in with us this week. For John Fanta, I'm Megan Caffrey.
One nothing at the half. Number 10 St. John's leading Villanova from Belson Stadium in Queens. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk with you on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi, as we look at our first half highlights. St. John's opening 10 minutes had the bulk of the possession. Carson Williams, though, able to intercept the cross. And then here will be an early chip opportunity for Einar Lai. Then Tanny Olawashe would come on, the reigning Big East Offensive Player of the Week, and his shot was blocked. It would lead to a corner in the 35th minute. Watch the finish. Skage Simonson, a special kind of a header with the degree of difficulty. And look at the placement here. Brandon Knapp, but the body position of Simonson still only a few yards off of the end line to turn and then head the ball into the far upper 90. St. John's fans excited about that one. Before that throw, one more opportunity. Drew Rosen off the bench. Nice layoff. An opportunity for the second before a shot that came through from Knapp was stopped by Carson Williams, who's been busier than usual. He's had to make 4 saves. And goal for St. John's, Jan Heffelner started. Did not have to make one for St. John's corners. But the Wildcats were able to settle in after the opening 10 minutes and played St. John's pretty even, aside from the Simonson goal. Number 10, St. John's, 1-0 over the Wildcats. Looking to remain undefeated at Belson Stadium and move to 11-1 on the season and get themselves back into first place in the Big East. Second half action coming up in a few minutes on the Big East Digital Network.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
Meet Fliz1. It's tiny and complex, and to our research team at Villanova University, this protein may hold the key to new tests for breast cancer. I started this work my second year at Villanova with a world-class researcher who is now my mentor and colleague. I stepped on campus an aspiring oncologist. Now, I'll start med school with a real understanding of the science behind the practice of medicine and Villanova's Augustinian values to guide me. Ignite change, go Nova.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
What does it mean for you, for me, for all of us, of the deeper meaning behind the work that we'll do in the community today?
Someone who has a college education will have a better life.
There's a lot that happens in those 4 years as they grow and discover what they want to do with their lives.
A Vincentian education builds students academically, socially, spiritually.
It is an experience that makes you a new form of you that you've never seen before.
It becoming my whole life and it becoming such a huge part of who I am.
You're able to grow into a person that I didn't know I could without that service.
It will help to remind us what's important and how we are committed to serving our community.
Having a Vincentian education has changed my entire worldview.
It gives them a solid foundation for a good life.
St. John's University, Niagara University, they're Vincentian schools. They're schools that offer opportunity.
And a higher education gives you all the tools you need to really grow and prepare you for life.
It's based in Catholic teaching and based on the work of St. Vincent de Paul, and it's really a call to action and service.
Service for the Vincentians is not a project. It's a way of life, and we integrate it into who they are.
It's a different type of knowledge than actually knowing the lived experience of people who are poor.
People are human and deserve that connection. That's where the Vincentian charism goes beyond.
It's like you wear certain glasses and you see the world through Vincentian eyes. There's a whole different value system.
Love, respect, service, excellence, and truth.
We want that Vincentian spirit in all of our students.
We know that there's a lot of problems in society today, and many of you will be that sign of hope.
We have a responsibility to take that Vincentian mission and go out and make a difference in the lives of the poor.
All universities do community service, but we do it from the lens of a faith-based community.
And we have a need and a desire to serve people who are marginalized, who are poor.
And that could just be having the students volunteer at different places as part of their class.
Students start to begin challenging their assumptions about how they could serve as a vehicle for positive social change.
It's efficient and effective.
It's very empowering for these students.
The fact that we had to go back and reflect on what we did was something that really resonated with me.
I started to take a step back from just giving out a sandwich and asking myself, why are these people in this situation?
It's developing our students to look more at the economy as a system of humans, a level much deeper than just looking at the statistics.
It's not about just being charitable, it's about a justice.
Charity is a handout. justice is a hand up.
And by the time they graduate, it's so much a part of their foundation and fabric.
It's amazing to see yourself change in such a short amount of time when you incorporate what you do at service into your everyday life.
They're going to use their life to positively impact the lives of others.
The things that we do for others, that's what sets us apart.
And it opened my eyes to the fact that everyone has something to offer, and you just have to be able to be that person that opens that up in other people.
One 0 St. John's about to start the second half. Skaggy Siemens in the goal in the 35th minute from Brandon Knapp. Keys to the game that I prognosticated before the match. Stronger start for St. John's. Out of their 24 goals scored this season, only five of them had come in first halves. They've been predominantly a second half team where they got one in the first half. And the second key for the bench that I particularly wanted to highlight, Nico Petridis and Tani Oluwaseyi off the bench have been changing games for St. John's, and they were both in the match in that first half. Tani would actually leave late in the first half, but this second half has belonged to Tani. 6 of his 7 goals have come in second halves this season. Meanwhile, for Villanova, well, Tom Carlin wanted his team to believe that they can win on the road. They need their first Big East road win in a while. 0-12-2 over the last 14 Big East road matches to believe those little intangibles that they were hoping for. And then with the way St. John's have been able to possess, can they counter against St. John's and get something in transition? A little bit of a different lineup as Evan Vare and Liam McKinnon both started at forward tonight out of a 4-4-2 alignment. The Wildcats did settle in. Lone countering opportunity came from Theo Corti. Now, Corte was able to race down the left side and fed Evan Vare, but his shot would eventually be blocked. Second half underway. So Villanova allowing just their 4th goal of the season. And St. John's trying to remain undefeated. The Red Storm 10-1 for the first time since 1996. Should they close this one out, they'll be 4-0 for the first time in the Big East since 2003. Luca Gavrin in goal for St. John's. To our right once the ball goes left to right. Jan Hoffelner did not have to make a save, and Coach Dave Mazur continues to go with a 2-goalie system, something that he believes he has not done in his 29 years. A year ago, he called it that it was the deepest set of goalies he ever had. St. John's had 4 goalies last year. Gavrin redshirted. St. John's number 3 goalie, Tyron Matuda, saw a lot of action last year, made 5 starts, but he's number 3 at the moment. Quick restart as Knapp sent in. As he continues to split his goalies, Luca Gavrin, a redshirt freshman, 6'6" from Hamilton, Ontario. And there's Luca. He's played the second half in all but 1 game this season. 3 goals allowed, a .56 goals against, 18 saves for Luca Gavrin. As we see his numbers, and he is still coming along. Took a lot from last year's redshirt season where St. John's had their primary starter, Lenny Wilson, as this is a shot that goes off of Liam McKinnon's feet and out of bounds, so we'll see Gavrin. Gavrin a bit different than Hoffelner, but he is especially strong on goal kicks and punts. Tonight he has a little bit of wind in his face, and he'll play this one short. Gavrin made a season-high 4 saves Tuesday night in the Red Storm's win over Temple. Simonson, a good ball played out wide and across. Duarte, a layoff to the outside of the box. Petridis with patience And then Petrides did not make a run to the inside. Well defended by Villanova. Bradley, who had stayed on at forward, but the Red Storm play it back to Gavrin. Also for St. John's, Einar Lai has returned for this second half. Oluwaseyi. Oluwaseyi, backdoor run, Duarte. So an active Brandon Duarte, a senior from Toronto, junior college transfer from Ancilla JC out in Donaldson, Indiana, was a second-team junior college All-American. Played a good chunk of last year as a holding midfielder or a right midfielder. Lai, as he applied the pressure. Bustamante brings it down. Simonson. Nap out wide. Petrides out of his reach. Villanova looking for a jolt. Among the thoughts from Tom Carlin into this one, his focus was on Skage Simonson and then being very aware when Tani Oluwaseyi comes on. They have not given up the devastating through ball that Simonson's been known for in this last year and a half. And Simonson has found Oluwaseyi consistently in terms of assists. Simonson, as he is bottled up. Dragicic with a good ball in space and room out wide, but then the shot easily skips in on Gavrin. Well, not much on it there from Bradley. Connor Bradley looked like he did not have his body on balance. There is Connor Bradley, the twins from Havertown, Pennsylvania, and played at the prestigious Haverford School out of the Philadelphia Union Academy. Bradley's a grinder. Started all 17 games last year at holding mid. He's got a goal and an assist this season. Out to Scherer, the right back. A Red Bulls Academy product from Trumbull, Connecticut. Oluwaseyi. Ball out wide, Petrides. Oluwaseyi makes the run. Petrides with the approach. Nico Petrides shot. As he teed it up, the shot blocked, and it'll be the Red Storm collecting their fifth corner. Petrides knew he had Oluwaseyi running, and perhaps trying to isolate the defender, decided to be patient there rather than attempt the cross. So Brandon Knapp. Knapp, Luke Hansen was the target. Petrides on the volley block on the Villanova defense. St. John's with that first half goal tonight, 25 on the season. And that matches, that's the most they've scored in the year since 2013. As Hansen won the ball in the air. Matt Chandler. Lai, with the defender sealed, is able to receive it beautifully. Lai chips. Oluwaseyi, the layoff, the return from Julo. Oluwaseyi, Julo buries it! Side pocket! 2-0 St. John's. Jared Julo, his first career goal. It's a pretty one, and Tani Oluwaseyi strikes again in the second half. He gathers the assist on a pretty one, too. Oluwaseyi with patience. 53rd minute, the tally for Jared Julo. It's been a long and winding road for Jared from Stamford, Connecticut. Originally committed to Pittsburgh before deciding to play last year for the New York Red Bulls U23 team. Spent 5 years with the Red Bulls. Was their captain. Last year in the academy team, 8 matches last year for their U23. A through ball for Oluwaseyi. Back heel, Einar Lai. Lai service. Head ball handled, Simonson. Petrides off of his feet. Now the Wildcats a bit on their heels. So it's the first time that Villanova has allowed multiple goals this season. Remember, they came in number 2 in the country in goals against. Just 3 goals allowed in 11 games. Teixeira, and that's Gavrin. Jared Julo, it'll be a pretty finish that he'll be able to remember forever. Oluwaseyi on the assist. Julo was a left back for the majority of his Red Bulls Academy career, and has been starting more in a left midfield spot for St. John's. With the emergence of Rafael Bustamante at left back for this team. Corte, and Chandler toes it out. Brennis comes up with a challenge, and Marcus Brennis came on late in the first half. Now Matt Forster, who's switched to right midfield with Oluwaseyi. And this one pops up and handled there by Williams. Or make that Petrides that made that last run. Petrides dispossessed, and Villanova can chip ahead looking for Connor Bradley. First half that they were not able to be dangerous enough on. As Simonson moves it along for Duarte. Space for Petrides. Numbers into the box. Throw for St. John's. At the moment in the Big East, again referring back to the unofficial RPI that is out there, the Big East right now is number 3 in conferences. Still yet early conference play, but the ACC is number 1, and the American Athletic Conference is number 2. Now the Big East this year went 7-2 against the AAC. They had notable non-conference wins: Butler over Indiana, Xavier early season win against Akron. So the Big East looks like to be in pretty good shape for a couple of at-larges. Georgetown is number 7, Butler 24, Villanova 49, among other teams in that within at-large striking distance at this midway point of October. But still so many key games left, and it can really change some other programs that can jump themselves up with some quality games remaining on their schedules. Namely Xavier, and Xavier owning a victory over Akron, who, while Akron has struggled this year, but the Zips, with all the talent in the world and a lot of high-end future MLS and pro talent, they could find a way to put together a streak and change Xavier's outlook and change their numbers. Here's Teixeira, as Brennis looked to play it inside for Corte, and that was broken up by St. John's. Simonson, and try to send out Petridis. St. John's will make a substitution, next opportunity. And they'll bring Drew Rosen back. And he'll come on as an outside midfielder. And Michael Stuff will call a little bit of a ticky-tack foul on Brandon Duarte. So for Villanova, these are quality opportunities, but they'll play it short here. They had an opportunity to get some more numbers in the box, but that plays very much so into Luka Gavrin's strength, as there is Oluwaseyi that's tripped up. And here comes the card and the booking, and Michael Stuff is going to book Luka Malor. So it's the first yellow of the match, as Oluwaseyi will look to jog it off. A little bit of a different match tonight for Tani Oluwaseyi. He did not start as usual, but he came on early, about 15 minutes in, when sophomore Cole Reardon, making his first career start, picked up an injury. Oluwaseyi would play and then sub out late in the first half. Simonson tries to power through, but a good job there defensively. Marcus Brennis able to body him off possession. Brennis, a very strong restart specialist too for Villanova, if they can get him an opportunity inside of 35 yards. Luka Malor. Look for Theo Corte. Einar sending out Oluwaseyi. Williams came outside of his 18, and nearly a vicious collision. That's going to be a goal kick off of Oluwaseyi. Tanny was coming on. Those were two players with their eyes up on the ball, and Carson Williams was able to play it off the chest. St. John's also making their sub with Rosen for Petridis, and Attila Ashrafi on for the first time. Freshman holding mid from Cologne, Germany. Freshman holding mid for Villanova, Victor Benedictson on for Dragicic. Into the 60th minute tonight. And Coach Mazur has seen his team again continue that theme of using their depth and then someone new stepping up, Oluwaseyi, and played it across the 6. Lai was making the run. Rosen. Duarte played it in, handled by Bellis. Follow up Bustamante. Bradley to check back. Corte. And a chance for Villanova to transition. But the takeaway, good feet there from Ashrafi. So Einar Lai. Trying to make it along was Brennis. And Gavrin continues to distribute. Julo picked up a goal in the 53rd minute, the first of his career, to give St. John's separation, as they now bid for their 4th in a row and 8th shutout of the season. That would match what the 2017 team did. As Schlentz drove it, and neither Sean Teixeira nor Richie Schlentz have been able to get in an attacking spot, either outside back tonight for Villanova. There's a fine defensive play made by Richie Schlentz. And Schlentz is exactly what you want from that position, left-footed, a solid defender, had a good summer with Reading FC of USL League 2. As there's Evan Vare back on for Villanova. Can they get him a shot? Shots right now are 11-3 Red Storm. But Vare, as Tom Carlin described, he can shoot the heck out of the ball. Has a real heavy shot. An opportunistic player. His best look came outside the 18 of the first half, where the shot was blocked. As Matt Chandler made a good play. There's a ball that comes in. There is Vare on cue in the run of play, sending it over the top. Vare was a dynamite player out of Central Bucks East High School. The 2015 Gatorade Player of the Year for Pennsylvania, a high school All-American. Just ridiculous numbers. His senior year, his team went 26-0, winning the Class AAA state title. 42 goals, 13 assists senior year for Evan Vare. And credit him for continuing to play high school soccer and balance out Premier Club Soccer too. Good ball played in. Einar Lai, another head ball. It's another great delivery for St. John's. 3-0 in the second half. Brandon Duarte on a fine ball. Einar Lai's third. And it was an unmarked Johnny right outside the 6. Well, 2 wonderful head balls tonight from St. John's players. Both Norwegians have shown they have a propensity that is so difficult to do, to place the ball in a targeted spot. Williams had no chance as we watched the service. Boy, even running away from goal and the power that Lai put behind it. Spectacular finish as we see the ball from Duarte, and look at that. Great job by our crew. That ball had to be directly straight on a 90-degree angle towards goal once he reached his head. So Einar Lai with his third of the season. They've added a second assist to Luke Hansen, and the goal comes in the 65th minute. Villanova, who had come in allowing just 3 goals in 11 matches, has given up 3 tonight. And now we'll get the foul called against Villanova as Drew Rosen, with great pressure while being dispossessed. Richie Schlentz called for the foul using the off arm. So St. John's will have a short corner. Ball serviced in. That was Duarte. Second ball, Bustamante off target.
The St. John's goal is third of the season, scored by number 7.
So for the Red Storm, that's now 27 goals scored.
By number 17, Brandon Duarte, and number 18.
And that matches the 2012 team's total.
64 minutes, 4 seconds.
As in terms of a goal differential number, the Red Storm have an opportunity, of course, just statistically speaking, they have an opportunity to set some real program milestones. St. John's this year, right now the low water mark for goals allowed is 10, set by the 2002 team. And St. John's, as we sit here in game number 12, they've allowed just 5. Two other teams, 79 and 09, allowed 11, as a nice back heel for Vare is read well by St. John's. And then two other St. John's teams allowed 13 goals. So there's a real opportunity for St. John's to test that 2002 team's defensive mark. Corte, and he's fouled Jared Julo. And again, Villanova will play it short. So Bellas, he tried to connect with Vare. Rosen. And Drew Rosen has been impactful in his bench appearance today. Duarte, another service. Lai almost had another opportunity for a second. Started to talk about before when we showed Coach Dave Mazur that this has been a team that its MO has been someone new has stepped up each night. And while top to bottom they have terrific talent and depth, but they have not been led by maybe two All-American players that have done the bulk of the work. And that could happen at the end of the season in terms of awards, but Jared Julo, first career goal tonight. Drew Rosen off the bench. He has not played in every match. He's come in and made an impact. And the intra-squad competition that exists within this team is also something that could be the foundation and stem into a championship caliber team, with Cole Reardon getting his first career start tonight and players behind the scenes working and pushing the starters. Duarte, as it continues the long run, and that has to be swept out by Shane Bradley. So a great effort here, Brandon Duarte making a 50-yard dash. And St. John's will have another corner. About to hit the 70th minute. Villanova giving up 3 goals for the first time in a game this year, and perhaps a bit stunned. They were looking to come up with a big road win, a win that could change their season and catapult them deep into the NCAA at-large picture and climb up the Big East standings. This is a shot by Hansen, or check that rather, Attila Ashrafi, that it's off target. Now there is Ashrafi, played last year in Germany's 5th division. He has been in the mix in what is a deep St. John's midfield. Villanova bringing back Seydou Shamsuddin as he comes on at forward, replacing Liam McKinnon. And McKinnon was not able to get any quality touches today. McKinnon had primarily been playing as a center midfielder, 2 goals and 4 assists to pace the Wildcats. And Tom Carlin loves his good attacking presence, and he is someone that can break lines. And I wonder if I'll ask Tom Carlin, even if St. John's and Villanova were to meet again, if he would put McKinnon in the midfield next opportunity, and someone that can dribble through a pair of defenders and move the ball quick. Now the Wildcats have just not been able to connect from the middle of the field into the attacking third and make players like Vare or Connor Bradley be in any attacking areas. A good switch by Bustamante. Ball threaded in for Oluwaseyi. Oluwaseyi and St. John's in control. Oluwaseyi. And that'll be another corner as it's blasted by Attila Ashrafi. So Brandon Knapp will have another corner. St. John's putting on the finishing touches of this one. That's now the Red Storm's 7th corner. The Wildcats do not have one. Shots are 14-4. Knapp. Second ball came down to Rosen. Ashrafi. And the advantage is given. That was Ashrafi that had won the ball, and Michael Stuff marks the spot. Wildcats have been shut out 4 times this season. First ball in for Duarte. Williams punches it out. And then we get a St. John's foul. Villanova will step out of conference on Tuesday. Another Philly Big Six matchup. They'll be at LaSalle. And then back at home next Saturday against Marquette. Next opportunity for Villanova to get a Big East road game. A road win will be on Sunday the 27th. And that'll be a significant one. Butler having a strong season, but the Wildcats with important home games against Marquette and Providence next on the ledger before that road game. And then they'll conclude the season at Seton Hall in South Orange. And with the way Seton Hall has improved, all of a sudden the Pirates can start to think about that one being a game that could put themselves with a 3-point victory into position where they can make the Big East tournament, something that hasn't happened in a long while. We'll get a St. John's substitute. And Coach Mazur is going a little deeper into his bench. He brings on Tiago Teixeira for the first time in a couple games. Tiago was a starting left back most of last year. He's a sophomore from Portugal. His dad, Delphine, enjoyed a lengthy pro career in Europe and made a couple of appearances with the Portuguese national team as a holding mid. His dad had a lot of injuries but played for Primeira Liga, 133 games. He was a mainstay playing in Portugal. And now Tiago Teixeira returns to the field for St. John's. Sean Teixeira, no relation. He's the starting right back for Villanova. And meanwhile, Tiago Teixeira for St. John's, he's come in as an outside midfielder. And a collision, and the late challenge is from Tiago Teixeira as he fouls Josh Bellas. So here is the best restart Villanova has had all night. And Bellas just an imposing figure on his recruiting visit. He fell in love with the school, he said, attending a Villanova men's basketball game. Freshman from Toronto, believed to be the first Canadian in the Villanova program. So Theo Corte. St. John's trying to preserve a shutout. Corte. That'll be a service. Look for the flick on. Ball was fanned on. Bella's shot, that's blocked. May have been straying off target. And it was fanned on initially. And one of the St. John's defenders was able to block it. And there'll be another good restart here as St. John's commits another foul. And we have a stoppage for the injury. Let's have a second look. Yeah, the first shot was fanned on, and it did appear it could have been Brandon Duarte on that. So Theo Corte will have another opportunity further out. Corte, again service. Look for the flick on. St. John's owns the head ball. Corte, second ball. And as he tried to turn the corner on Ashrafi, he took it out of bounds. We'll get another St. John's substitution as we creep towards the 80th minute tonight. St. John's will bring back Nico Petridis, replacing Drew Rosen. There's Petridis. And he seems to lift matches with his energy. He's been a completely different player this season. Corte. And the play read well, Ashrafi. And Ashrafi got a tug of the jersey. The advantage will be called. Petridis will look to attack against Malor. Nico Petridis trying to take the defender out wide. And then the layoff. And too many white shirts there as Marcus Brennis is able to come up with the clearance. Nap here for Bustamante. Teixeira. Oluwaseyi. Now to a strong left foot. Oluwaseyi fires! It was stopped on the rebound. It's tapped in! Einar Lai, his second head ball to be on target tonight. Another brace for Einar. 4-0 St. John's. Oluwaseyi had a rocket that Williams was able to get over and stop. Lai able to poach a juicy ball inside the 6. And look at the interplay and exchange with the defender losing an edge. And that ball actually appears that it may have gone flush off of the post. As we get a second look at it, Williams perhaps got a little piece of it. But Lai is able to place it on virtually an empty goal. So St. John's has buried 4 goals tonight on the Wildcats. And Villanova, that had been playing super stingy defense, having allowed just 3 goals in 11 matches against the likes of a quality schedule that the Wildcats have played. Maryland, Penn State. And perhaps a stunned Wildcats group tonight. They went on the road to Omaha at Creighton and Morrison Stadium, only gave up 1. despite being down a man. And Tani Olewasheyi credited with the assist. So Olewasheyi may be making a bid for another Big East Offensive Player of the Week honor. So he's up to 7-3 on the season. And Einar Lai has been most opportunistic.
Time of that goal, 78 minutes, 7 seconds. Red Storm goal scored by
Lai's second comes in the 79th. And Lai is going to get hugs and high fives throughout as he exits. The first head ball was something to marvel at. Something that you would clip out and say that is exactly how you spend hours or why you spend hours working on such a thing so it looks so pretty and yet so simple when the lights are on. And then that next head ball, simply a matter of anticipating and then calmly placing it anywhere inside frame.
Substitutions back into the match for Villanova. Number 28, Anthony Dragicic, replacing number 8, Evan Bear. For St. John's, now into the match number 21, Ethan Shaw.
So Villanova will need to pick up the pieces
Sanusi Sangari.
and look to get back to the way that they've been playing. And again, the Wildcats have been just so difficult to break down. That had been their strength. Their back line, and then Carson Williams had been so well protected. Williams has been forced to make 5 saves. Season high was 6 against Maryland and Xavier this year. Turning, Shamsuddin. He was taken down, hoping for the foul to be called inside the area. And Teixeira to pivot. And Villanova had given up some high shot numbers, 18 in their last match against James Madison. But they've been from the perimeter mostly as 2 more St. John's subs. As for the Red Storm, you see 28, David Target, redshirt junior from Dix Hills in Hills East High School, makes his second appearance of the season. And also, Nuno Reigones is on for the first time, sophomore from Portugal. And Reigones making his first appearance. A player with 3 years of eligibility that comes on for the first time as a Johnny. Olewasheyi sits, so does Brandon Knapp as they get congratulated. As Coach Dave Mazur told me on the field before the game, who is usually not much of a talker pregame, but he said, you know, I'm a little nervous. And the better his team has played, but that, I think, all stemmed from the great respect that he has for Tom Carlin's Villanova program and how well they defend as a team. They've been so difficult to break down, as the advantage will be given here. Sam Shadeen. But St. John's goals tonight, especially you look at the first 2 goals that were scored, the head balls by Skage Simonsen and Einar Lai. The kinds of goals it takes to beat great defenses. Those were not gimmies. Then the goal by Julo, also a thing of beauty because Julo continued his run after Villanova allowed Olewasheyi to make a deep run down the sideline. So 3 of the 4 St. John's goals tonight have required clinical finishes, picking corners, 2 head balls within them. And the 4th goal by Lai came essentially the rebound off of a shot by Oluwaseyi that Lai able to head in on an empty goal. Ashrafi. Space here, and the shot by Target. David Target played for Coach Tiziano Carconi at Hills East High School. Came to St. John's as a recruited walk-on and has been a 4-year player, redshirted, and St. John's has done well historically with players like Target that found a way onto the roster, bid their time for several years, and found a way to play a role either senior year, redshirt junior year, and to contribute to very good teams. Elsewhere in the Big East tonight, Marquette and Providence are doing battle. That's 2-0 Providence in the second half. As we get a stoppage with 4:20 remaining, but Villanova will play it short. And then DePaul taking on Butler. Last night, Georgetown snapped Seton Hall's 4-game winning streak, 2-0. That was in D.C. And then Xavier 1-0 in Cincinnati over Creighton. Gavrin can take his time for this latest goal kick. St. John's has been credited with 2 saves tonight. One of them was a team save credited to Brandon Duarte, and the ball in the box that we showed you the replay of. Shamsuddin, Corte, connection, Dragicic, and Anthony Dragicic, good patience, at wide, Vare the shot, and Gavrin has to make the save. Big rip there, that's who Villanova would love to get looks for, Evan Vare, but Gavrin was in good position. And the shooter, rather, was Victor Benedictson there for Villanova. And also Sanusi Sangari has come on for the first time for St. John's. Here's Bella's shooting, and Gavrin is up with it. Got a chance to find out some more about Luka Gavrin. Only began being a goalie at the age of 13. That's very late in most goalies' lives. Was a forward until then. And during spring seasons at Brainboof High School in Hamilton, Ontario, Luka Gavrin had his sights potentially set on playing college volleyball. Makes sense, 6'6", but the energy that he plays with kind of comes from there. Of course, in volleyball, every kill or block just comes with a great emotional reaction. And Gavrin has kind of carried that over to his soccer goalkeeping. He's considered to be the more fiery goalie between he and Jan Haffelener. A foul against Villanova at midfield for the final 90 seconds. We'll get another St. John's sub. Waiting at the table is Coach Dave Mazur. Is going to bring on everybody that's healthy tonight. Ethan Shaw has come in for the first time, sophomore from Northern Burlington High School down in South Jersey, a native of Chesterfield, as he's come in at left midfield.
This is the last minute of play in regulation. 1 minute.
Stay tuned after the game. I'll have an interview from down on the field, and Einar Lai will be my guest. His second 2-goal performance. First-year player in Queens, but he's found a way to contribute immediately. And the Red Storm, the final numbers continue to be impressive. Villanova is going to be held without a corner tonight. Just 3 shots on goal, 17-6 are the shots. And for the Red Storm, this is going to be shutout number 8. As they pour it on the Wildcats, the nation's number 2 team in goals against, with 3 allowed in the previous 11 games. St. John's just put a 4 spot on Villanova at Belson Stadium. The Red Storm are 4-0 in the Big East for the first time since 2003. Number 10 St. John's now 11-1 on the season. I'll be back with a wrap-up and my interview with Einar live from the field in a moment on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
Meet Fliz1. It's tiny and complex, and to our research team at Villanova University, this protein may hold the key to new tests for breast cancer. I started this work my second year at Villanova with a world-class researcher who is now my mentor and colleague. I stepped on campus an aspiring oncologist. Now, I'll start med school with a real understanding of the science behind the practice of medicine and Villanova's Augustinian values to guide me. Ignite change, go Nova.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
You're not going to want to miss this.
Meet Fliz1. It's tiny and complex, and to our research team at Villanova University, this protein may hold the key to new tests for breast cancer. I started this work my second year at Villanova with a world-class researcher who is now my mentor and colleague. I stepped on campus an aspiring oncologist. Now, I'll start med school with a real understanding of the science behind the practice of medicine and Villanova's Augustinian values to guide me. Ignite change, go Nova.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
It's a final as number 10 St. John's impressively collects 4 goals against the nation's number 2 goals against average team, the Villanova Wildcats, tonight. They improved to 11-1 with the 4-0 shutout here at Belson Stadium. Ralph Bjornchik back with you on the Big East Digital Network. Einar Lai, the sophomore forward, just joined St. John's this year from Norway, collects 2 goals today, your second multi-goal game. Tell us about your first goal, a thing of beauty in the head ball. You made it look so simple. Just describe that play, the ball you got from Brandon Duarte, and then maybe a head ball you dream about and you hope you can execute in a game.
Yeah, I know. Like we've been practicing a lot on like crossing, heading, and when I saw Duarte got a ball on the right side, I just knew I had to get in the box, find a spot, and he found me with a perfect ball. So luckily it went in. It was a good header as well, actually.
And then your second head ball, a little bit easier.
Yeah.
The cage was virtually open, but describe what you're feeling there as Tanya Oluwaseyi essentially has the shot and you're in position, again, to knock it down on target and frame.
Yeah, after I scored my goal, I said to Tanya, like, now I'm going to get you 1 goal. But he went for the shot, and I was just, like, ready for the rebound. And when it was there, I was in the right spot for the right time. And then it was an easy goal for me. But yeah, those goals count the same as the hard ones, so I'm just happy.
Einar, it can take international players some time to adjust to the Division I NCAA game. The physicality, it's different. It's a new country, can be a new language. Why have you adjusted your production? You've started from day one. Why have you adjusted so quickly?
I came here in the spring, so I got like some extra months to like prepare and stuff like that. But I mean, it was hard, and you just gotta like work hard and stay focused, and yeah, it will work out. So I guess that's the secret or whatever.
I'm sure you've played on some very special teams in your career, but what do you think makes this team potentially have some remarkable upside to it and maybe pursue some remarkable goals?
I mean, everybody's so humble and like hardworking. We're like a really good team. We have some individuals, but as a team, I think like maybe no one can beat us because we work for each other, we work hard, and yeah, I think I'm sure it must be painful to play against us because we're working so hard, all of us.
Must feel good to score 2, though. Einar Lai, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Einar Lai, the sophomore from Norway, St. John's, picks up a shutout over the Villanova Wildcats. They move to 4-0 in the Big East for the first time since 2003. A lot of people to thank. Our producer and director tonight, KJ Hammond, and for our entire crew. My name is Ralph Bjornchik saying so long and good night. You've been watching Men's Soccer on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. Diaz ESPN. Let me tell you how proud I am to be able to do an interview on your camera.